Thanks for attending this planning meeting. I can confirm that there is no fire alarm programme for this evening. If one does go off, please leave the building by the designated route, meet outside the Chinese restaurant. Could you please turn your mobile phones onto silent or off for the remainder of the meeting? If you need to take a call, please let the chair know and leave accordingly. Have all the councillors received the packs? That's confirmed, thank you. Obviously, the method of voting is to raise your hands in favour, against or abstention. Apparently I don't think there's any members of the public booked to speak at this meeting. No. Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Item 1, public participation, which we'll move on. Apologies for absence.
We have apologies from councillors Villis, Stannard and Everard.
Thank you very much. Are there any declarations of interest to do with any of the items in the agenda for this evening? None declared. Item 4, to consider and approve the meeting minutes of the Planning Committee on the 5th of November 2025. Have these been approved already?
These were approved at the full council meeting on the 19th of November.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any matters arising from the meeting minutes of the 5th of November you wish to discuss that's not included within the agenda for this coming meeting? None required. Okay. Item 5, appointments of committee members.
We have received an application from Councillor Brearley to join the committee. He has so far carried out the introduction to planning course and is still interested in joining if everyone would wish to vote and decide on that.
Yeah, proposer. Seconder.
Councillor Briley joins the committee.
Yeah.
Second, Councillor Pearce, all in favour?
Well, I'm the chairman. All in favour? We had a misfire off Councillor Moore, but apart from that, we're all ready to go.
I would propose that Councillor Brearley attends the next few meetings to get used to how things are run, but I would ask if someone would agree to buddy him so they can take him through the process of making recommendations.
Well, I propose we exclude Councillor Moore from doing anything of the sort, but I'll help him on that if that's okay.
Thank you.
Right. Item 5, the Chairman's report. There was a letter received today which was circulated to the Planning Committee from the Planning Inspectorate to Horsham District Council, laying out various terms and conditions that would allow a reinstatement of the local plan. The main clause on that is that there would have to be a meeting between the Inspector and Horsham District Council to explore the implications of the examination and the intent to abolish the duty to cooperate, which has been proposed by the government. Such a meeting would give the council the opportunity to set out the understanding, scope, necessary and main modifications to address the matters of soundness already discussed and any long associated works. This is due to take place in February next year. Situation is with that is that will just be over 14 months from, well, we cancelled in December, so 13 months from the cancellation of the local plan by the inspector. On that basis, it will probably take another 2 years before we will be in any position to get a local plan in place. I would suggest that South Walter Parish Council write to Horsham District Council and express our concerns and suggest that they start work on their local plan immediately because the soundness of the letter they've received from the Planning Inspectorate would mean that we wouldn't know until probably about August next year whether they're allowed to continue with this. And it would then take 30 months from then to actually put a local plan in place, which would be detrimental to the to Horsham, and it would also then come into the situation where devolution would have taken place. So we really need Horsham to take some action immediately on that. Also, the planning bill, the Planning and Infrastructure Bill, has now passed the House of Lords and is awaiting royal assent, which would have greater environmental protection, which would also have to be taken into account with any local plan, any neighbourhood plan. And this would mean the majority of the work has been undertaken so far by Horsham would have to be redone anyway. So I would suggest that the Executive Officer, in conjunction with the Chairman and Vice Chairman of Planning, word a strong letter to Horsham District Council to get this moving. That's all I've got to report on the Chairman's report. I've got other documents here which I'll hand to Julie so that she can distribute to the Planning Committee, which deals with the various points I've raised.
Executive Officer's report. I'd like to thank all the councillors for using the new online planning recommendations form. This will be the only way to submit your recommendations going forward, but of course any improvements that can be made to the form, please let me know. It's something that I would like to keep improving over time to get it to work in the best way possible for us all. We have been in contact, or have been contacted by the communications agency that is working for Bellway Homes, which submitted a non-material amendment application in respect of the Woodfords development on Shipley Road. Whilst we have submitted our objections to this application, it has been proposed that we meet with the planning developers to ascertain how they can assist Southwater further, considering the impact that this development will have on the community and the infrastructure of Southwater. We're just waiting to hear back from them with suggested dates and times, but they have agreed to a meeting.
Any interested councillors that would like to attend that meeting with me and the Executive Officer, if you could let Julie know, and we can get that arranged.
Yes, if I can just notify my interest at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to be involved.
Thank you. Correspondence. The Executive Officer has received notifications from the owners of Budgeons that they have now complied with the enforcement notice EN 240327 and application DC 251165 by relocating the condenser unit into the store and making good the wall. A further correspondence was received today from the Planning Officer to confirm that that enforcement is now closed. That's it for correspondence.
Okay. Item 9, highways, drainage, street lighting, street names, numbers, etc. Do we have anything to discuss on that?
We do. The Executive Officer has received a letter of support from the MP John Milne in respect of the Communications Highway Scheme to reduce the speed limit to 30 miles per hour on Worthing Road. A response is still awaited from the County Councillor Joy Dinnis to give their support. Also want to note that a number of roadworks are taking place in Southwater in the coming weeks, including the footway reconstruction along Cripplegate Lane, which will last until the 9th of January, extended closure of Woodlands Way due to the gas network works now until the 19th of December. Works are also expected to commence on Station Road and Little Bridges Road, which will incur carriageway incursions between the 4th to the 8th of December. Roadworks from the 4th to the 8th to December again on York Close, which will be traffic controlled with stop-go boards. Also notice for tomorrow daytime only that Bashurst Hill will be closed between the junction of Smugglers Lane and New Road due to overhead power cable maintenance. Bonfire Hill will also be closed between the 8th and the 12th of December for Southern Water to carry out works. From the 15th of December until the 9th of January, works will commence on the Fieldings with traffic control measures in place for the introduction of tactile crossing points. That's all I have to report.
Is that published on our website, or can it be published on the website?
It has been published today, so there is a section on our website now for roadworks, and once a fortnight that is updated, and we get weekly notifications now of what's going on. So anything urgent is also shared on our social channels to let people know.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman, if those
Put your microphone on, please, Councillor Moore, as is recommended at this meeting.
Right. I thought it was the chairman's mic. Yes, if those notifications,
What do you say?
if those notifications could be made a week beforehand, just so that people then get it. Otherwise, if they're too early, then people just forget that it's going to happen.
Yes, with that, we are doing that. Sometimes the notifications come through literally the day before, so we do notify as soon as we can. So for the example of the Fieldings, we know that's a few weeks off, but we will do social posts nearer the time to let people know as well.
Any more items on?
No, that's it.
Okay, right, we'll move straight on to item 10, neighbourhood plan, which I know the executive officer is going to comment on at this meeting. Are you up to date with that, or should we take it between us?
We'll do it between us.
Okay.
That's okay.
Right,
I can cover the options if you want.
sorry?
Do you want me to cover the options?
Yes, please, yeah. Before you go into that, the neighbourhood plan review committee, or the neighbourhood plan committee did a review of the various options that are open to us, which will now be explained.
So part of the neighbourhood review was to come up with options that could be put forward to vote for decision on how we go forward. Option 1 was to carry on with the current material modifications. This has the benefit of being faster at lower costs and maintains continuity. Unfortunately, the cons are that it's unlikely to satisfy paragraph 14 of the test and therefore limit our protection from speculative applications. Option 2 is the full review with the housing allocation included. This will require fresh evidence and run a call for sites as well. This provides us the strongest position from shaping the growth and protecting Southwater from continued speculative development. This does, however, have timeline and cost implications. The third option is not to proceed with the review at the current time, to pause any work. This will protect expenditure, but it does mean we are at greater exposure from speculative applications. The idea is for this committee to review those options and make a recommendation that can be put to full council.
Yeah, the neighbourhood plan review committee actually recommended, after various advice from Squires Planning, that option 1 wouldn't satisfy paragraph 14 of the National Planning Policy Framework, and as such would not offer us, or would only give us limited protection against speculative development schemes. Because Horsham District Council has failed to consider and put in place a local plan which gives us any protection at all, the committee decided that the third option of doing nothing would be unacceptable. So the option that we are putting forward is to do a full review of the neighbourhood plan, which again does have cost implications, which will be brought before the budget setting committee. But that is our only realistic option of giving any protection at all to Southwater. This option, the only problem that we could see with this option is if the government changes its 2011 Localism Act to a stage where it wouldn't give us the protection. The information we're getting at the moment is there's no change to the 2011 Act. So this is the option that we are proposing to put forward to Council. After due consideration this morning with the Executive Officer, myself and the Assistant Executive Officer, we decided that if we go forward and recommend approval of option 2, which has cost implications, we should also, with that, request an extraordinary full council meeting so it can be considered by all the councillors and be sort of discussed fully, because it does have cost implications and it does need a bit more than just the planning committee saying this is what we ought to do. So the recommendation that I would be putting forward is we put forward option 2 being the preferred option by the planning committee and also the consultative group to a full council meeting specifically to discuss this because of the cost implications. If you've got any discussions on it and you can turn your microphones on, please do.
Yes, please, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to play devil's advocate. With regards to the protection that would give us, what evidence do we have that this neighbourhood plan gives us that protection? That's the bit I'm struggling with.
Right. The only The only reasons I can give you on that is we'd be fully compliant with the 2011 Localism Act, which brought the neighbourhood plans into place to give protection to parish councils. We have suffered in the fact that we've got to the end of our 5-year period on the neighbourhood plan and it needed to be reviewed. And we've lost protection because Horsham District Council does not have a local plan that we can actually comply with. So we would have full protection as we would have had previously. We've had a sort of a setback where the Horsham Golf and Fitness, the neighbourhood plan was criticised because it didn't afford certain protection regarding housing numbers. A complaint was made to the Planning Inspectorate and they've come back and recognised in their reply that the neighbourhood plan shouldn't have been criticised, but because Horsham didn't have a local plan in place, that the housing numbers were incorrect and therefore the neighbourhood plan couldn't protect them in that situation. The full review of the neighbourhood plan would take into account a new call for sites and bring our housing levels up to the correct level and give us then full protection.
But what evidence do we have in reality that it will give us protection? Because what can you give us any cases where it's worked and it's stopped speculative development?
I can get Squires Planning to actually provide those. I don't have them to hand, but their advice that we were given in the neighbourhood plan review was that it would give us full protection. And I can only really go on the advice we've been given by our advisors on that. I can't give you any magic figures.
But in reality, in the last 5 years, or how it's been going for, have we stopped any speculative developments?
We've stopped large speculative developments because our neighbourhood plan would not have allowed them, and we had Horsham District Council had a local plan in place which backed the neighbourhood plan up. But because one of those doesn't exist anymore, there's very little protection. But if both of them were in place, the golf and fitness would not go through. And unfortunately, the developments on Shipley and Shipley Road, we wouldn't have been able to help with those because they're outside the parish. But what we are proposing to do is that should we go to a full review, is to deal with the parishes that are actually adjoining Southwater and do a joint neighbourhood plan with attached parishes so that we are technically pushing any speculative development out farther away from Southwater by having those parishes included within our neighbourhood plan. And that has been confirmed by our planning advisor that we can actually do that.
Thank you.
Chairman, one of the things that I think that when we look at this in isolation, we don't see the roadmap that took us here. If you think that the development that Southwater took 10, 15 years ago, we had no protection over. And in effect, the local planning framework says that if there is a plan in place, then you can then resist any speculative development. We then, because of the Localism Act, decided to then have a neighbourhood plan, which was in place and was regarded as one of the best. Unfortunately, when we submitted the review of this in November 2023, so that's 2 years ago, we submitted a review well ahead of the review process, and Horsham took a considerable amount of time to then tell us, well, we're just dealing with the local plan, we're not going to review it. And they told other parishes of that as well. Well, what happened with that was when it was challenged with the Horsham Golf and Fitness and others, suddenly our plan that we'd spent all that time, effort and money in was limited as to what power it could have because Horsham had failed, one, to review it. Had they reviewed our plan in time, it would have carried a lot more weight because it would have been reviewed. But now we've got to the stage of reviewing it, which is option one, will give very little added benefit. Had it been done at the time, it would have been better. But the problem that we have at the moment is that as Horsham District Council doesn't have a local plan now, we're floundering because we've got nothing in place that can resist it, because our review runs out, I believe, in June next year. That is the 5-year period that we have to have it reviewed by. So we've gone down this road of getting a neighbourhood plan in place, which was recommended for low communities to have in place. We've spent all the time, money and effort in getting there. We've been let down by Horsham District Council not having a local plan in place. We're now facing a difficult decision, because we know how beneficial a neighbourhood plan is, but to do a limited amount of work gives us very little additional protection. To do nothing at all gives us no protection at all. Or we do a full review of the neighbourhood plan, which provides us with the protection. Our dilemma is, how much money are we willing to spend on a full review of that neighbourhood plan? Unfortunately, one of the decisions, in becoming a councillor, we've got to try and make the best decision based on the evidence that we have for the benefit of the community. The community, trying to sell the benefits of the neighbourhood plan to the community, which we did do, of course, they will see what has happened recently, and they'll point to Horsham Golf and Fitness and say, well, neighbourhood plan didn't stand up there. Well, it didn't, but that was not as a result of a failure of the neighbourhood plan. That was really as a result of the failure of Horsham Local District not having a local plan in place. It's not... one of the benefits when we first did the neighbourhood plan was there were grants towards it. There are no grants towards it now.
One other thing to include in this is areas that have certain other areas have additional protection, which we don't have in solid West Sussex. The area I came from in sort of East Kent, it's got Grade 1 agricultural land, which cannot be converted into residential or commercial development, so it has a natural protection on it. All around this area is Grade 3. It's the worst agricultural land you can imagine, and therefore it doesn't have that additional protection. You get closer to the national parks, and you get additional protection there. We're in a really awkward area. We've got good connections through to London, got good road connections through to London, and we are really vulnerable to developers, because there's a huge amount of unused land around the area. And if the parishes aren't protected, and it would need, as I said in the earlier stages, it would need some of the parishes to get together, and some of the funding could be brought in from other parishes to give them the protection, because it's been proved that, well, one of the things is they're not going for it in Southwater apart from Golf and Fitness. They're doing it in Shipley. They'll be doing it in other parishes because they haven't got the protection we have, and we have the infrastructure to enable them to make those applications, because we've got the village centre and we've got schools and various things like this. So, we've got to try and protect those assets as well. We don't want those to be devalued and lots of buses of various children coming into Southwater, which is not really desirable, because our roads within Southwater aren't good enough to take them anyway. But I mean, this is why I wanted to give the decision. This is what we believe as a planning committee should be the way forward. But the final decision's got to lie with full council, because it needs more than 5 of us. I mean, if we had a full group, if we had everybody here, I'd be more confident in saying, right, let's do it. So what I'm proposing is that we bring option 2 to full council to discuss, and if they decide not to approve it, then we'll go back and pull another option up to bring to the full council. So,
Mr. Chairman, let me repeat, I'm playing devil's advocate,
Yeah, no.
and with other meetings coming up and an extraordinary meeting and a vote, these are the sort of questions that I would suspect we're going to get.
well,
and,
we ought to
and-
get those questions. Yeah,
and
you're
we
quite
need to
right.
be prepared for.
Yeah.
So it's not my personal opinion, it's just that I think it's something that, because it is a very costly exercise and huge amount of work involved as well.
Yeah, and we need our consultant there as well, to be honest with you, to be at that meeting, to actually give the assurances that the councillors will obviously want. And, I thank you for sort of raising that. It's an important part. I mean, I could just go down the road of sort of saying, well, let's vote on it here, but we need to take something to, a meeting where all the councillors can discuss it. I don't think it'd be fair for us to run roughshod over the whole council. So my proposition would be, is we take option 2 to an extraordinary meeting of full council to start the conversation off.
Thank you.
Okay. If there's no, could I have a seconder for that, or councillor? All in favour? Thank you very much for that. I think it will pay huge dividends to have all councillors having an approach on it. Right, next item is 11 planning applications for decisions. Right, we've got DC 251764, Councillor Stannard. If I do the names, do you want to say what this? Sure. Yeah.
Councillor Stannard submitted his recommendations to no objection. However, the neighbouring property had a very similar application which we had objected to, which had been approved, which is why he's suggesting no objection on this occasion.
Right. I mean, I've taken a look at the application today, and I would agree with him that there's no point in objecting to this. So I will second that. All in favour? I mean, if anybody, we haven't got our executive officer here today, so I don't think it's fair to ask you to start pulling stuff up on the screen unless you're totally au fait with it.
I would normally do it, but this keyboard's died, so I'm going to have to be running back and forth if I do. So,
if anybody does have a problem with it and wants to defer and delegate it to a later stage, please let me know as we go through, because obviously we can't do that. Item 251794, Councillor Pearce.
No objection, Mr. Chairman. This is a very basic extension to the existing porch.
Yeah, I would second that, because I've taken a look at the applications today. Are we all in favour? Yeah, so that's no objection. DC 251488, Councillor Turnwell.
Yeah, this was no objection, and it was just an enlargement to an existing holiday home.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, that's what I saw today, so I'm happy to second that. All in favour? Councillor Villis is not here at the moment. 251863, do you want to take that?
no objection to this.
Yeah, okay. Again, I've taken a look at that today, and I'm happy to second that. All approved? Thank you. DC 251834, Councillor Haddon.
Yeah, I didn't actually manage to get to visit the property, but I did visit the neighbouring property where you could see very clearly. The climbing frame appears to be within the domestic curtilage and is not viewed by the neighbours. The fence the neighbours has, it's lower. It's about the same height as the fence. However, the zip wire is the reports are that it's 12 metres away from the neighbouring property. It's a lot closer than 12 metres.
Okay. This is a retrospective application, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite high.
What's the location of the property?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, so it's Rowan to Marlash.
Right.
I visited Backset, which backs right onto the field. So there's the zip wire, the platform is attached to an existing tree, and it has covered with it's like a bamboo round the outside, which obviously you can see through. And standing on that platform, you'd be able to see straight through to the neighbour's bedroom.
Right, okay.
So, and there's also, I'm not sure about the domestic curtilage.
Right, do you want us to throw this over to enforcement to check whether or not it's within the curtilage
I
of the
think
site?
so, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
we make a decision on that
Yeah.
once they've reported back? Could
Yeah.
we report that to enforcement?
Yeah.
Okay, happy to approve that. Good, thank you. 251842 Den Meadows, Councillor Villis.
No objection, however, it was noted that the annex was not part of the original application and the previous plans could not be located to check.
Right, okay. The thing is, when I took a look at it, I think the annex may have been on there for in excess of 5 years, so it may have had retrospective approval. So because it's a no objection, if there's an objection, I'd go further on it. Because it's no objection, then I'm happy to second that. In favour? Right, 53 Woodlands Way,
Oh no, you missed one.
Stoneleigh.
1850.
1850, Councillor. Detached garage, sorry, yeah.
Yep, that's another no objection.
Yeah, sorry, I've taken a look at that as well. I'll second that. You in favour? Thank you. Surgery to One Oak, sorry, right on the end of the page. Well, 251865, it was in office.
That's no objection. Reduction should be limited to 30%.
Okay, fine. All in favour?
Can I have a proposer, please?
I'll propose it. I'll automatically propose the ones that are on here.
Okay.
I just need a seconder for it because I've taken a look at all of them. So, yeah, Councillor Haddon.
Yep.
And all in favour says no objection. Right, next one is with me, DC 251883, Lintott Square Co-op. It's the removal of condition 10 and putting another condition in place. It's not actually removal of condition 10. Condition 10 will automatically apply because condition 10 is the working hours for delivery starting at 7 o'clock in the morning. And that will still be for large vehicles, but they want to start at 6 o'clock in the morning for newspapers. And they've submitted a fairly lengthy sound report on the situation. And what they are proposing is that the newspapers would be delivered in small vans rather than the large lorries. And that would be restricted to one visit per day during the period of 6 to 7 o'clock. I've taken a look at all the paperwork involved in that today, and we cannot object to this because everything is in place to do it. There's been an objection from a neighbour, somebody living over the co-op, that says that the noise from lorries and various things are quite bad during early times. So it's an enforcement notice basically that they've had to make an application for. And they're also complaining about people talking and various things like that, which doesn't help the objection too much. But taking a look at the environmental report, I would raise no objection on it, as long as it's one visit today. I've actually put an addition, in the form I put an addition 1 in there saying that no vehicles in excess of a class 4 vehicle, which is basically a car or a van-based car, should be allowed to come, and it only be one visit per day between those times. And that's what I suggest we ask for a condition to be put on.
Need that.
We need somebody to second it.
That's your
Yeah,
proposal.
yeah.
I'll second.
Yeah, in favour?
All those in favour?
Thank you. So, let's lose pages now.
It's 1741.
Yeah, Wilden Close, Councillor Villis.
This is an objection. There will be insufficient parking with the loss of the garage for a four-bedroom house. It's contrary to SNP 14.1A and SNP 14.2. The property is situated on a cul-de-sac where no additional parking is available.
Okay, I will second that objection. Yep. Councillor Moore? Yep. All in favour?
Chairman, just as a matter of record, I also did one a few years ago in Wilden Close in the same road, and that was 2 bedrooms, and Horsham District Council completely ignored our justification for an objection because there was no additional car parking space. And if you go up to Wilden Close in around about between 6 and 8 o'clock at night, you see the results of this now because there are cars parked everywhere, and it's a problem when one house does it. It becomes a huge problem when about 6 or more other houses do it, because suddenly you've run out of car parking spaces.
Yeah, understandable. Okay, 251743, Councillor Everard, replace garage roof structure with new pitched roof, installation of PV panels to both slopes, forming new gable. There's been no recommendation on that. We defer and delegate it and take a look tomorrow.
The consultation date has passed.
Okay, right, yeah. Right, reserved matters. DC 251658, Woodford Shipley Road. 2 lots of reserved matters there, which Assistant Executive Officer has taken a look at for me. I'd like to say she's done an excellent job on it, and prepared a fairly lengthy letter to Horsham District Council making objections due to the affordable housing provisions, claims to deliver 40%, and in the original application stated up to 100%. I'll comment on that a little bit more in the future. The disproportionate number of large private homes to small private homes, parking provisions and highway impact, design and character because 3-storey buildings are being put in place, infrastructure and community impact, and sections, no section 106 or SIL contributions, which is why we've asked the developer to come in and see us, because we need to actually, if it has already been approved, so we need to deal with what should come out over the South Water Parish Council. I propose to speak to Shipley Parish Council after we've had a meeting with the developer. A number of neighbourhood plan policies have been breached, and the conclusion is South Water Parish Council strongly objects to this application on the grounds of inappropriate design and scale, poor housing and lack of smaller affordable, over provision of large private homes, insufficient car parking, unresolved highway and safety concerns, unmanaged and unfair infrastructure burden on South Water with inadequate secured provisions. And if the HR committee is minded to approve, we suggest a redesign, enhanced parking provisions and financial contributions towards South Water, which we are actually taking action on. I'd like to thank the Assistant Executive Officer for putting that together. I've just been busy on various other things, and it is an excellent letter. And could you copy all people, all members of the Planning Committee in on that letter so you can see what we're doing? I would like to comment on the affordable housing provisions. I took a look at that today. And unfortunately, one of the problems we get is where a developer says up to 100% provision. They normally put that in at the beginning so that they can say that there's no affordability in there to allow them to make SIL provisions and Section 106 provisions. So what they've said now is claiming delivery of 40%. I would expect to see a lot more contributions come out of that for Section 106 and the SIL provisions. And that's the other reason that I think we need to meet with the developers, just to sort of bottom this out and actually get some agreement with them before it gets too far down the road and before Horsham District Council takes provisions for education and various things like this, which would deplete the reserves we need to undoubtedly do a fair amount of roadworks at the end of Shipley Road, which West Sussex would have to do, and we would have to negotiate with West Sussex on that basis. The infrastructure is absolutely atrocious coming into Southwater, and it's with the schools and various things, this housing development, it's been considered, I know, by Environmental Health, and there's a very, very long report on it, but it just doesn't seem to make any great sense, and it opens up the rest of the Shipley Road to development, which is one of the other reasons we need to get Shipley on board with a neighbourhood plan with us so that we can actually help to protect this. So, as I say, I thank the Assistant Executive Officer for actually dealing with that. It's a good recommendation, and I hope that we can undertake some negotiations direct with the developers to try and solve some of these problems rather than them try to push it through on a speculative development case.
From memory, Chairman, the original application, with it being 100% affordable, was there to get by the original applicant, was there really, they justified the benefit because it was 100% affordable homes. And I think that the HDC were restricted in or encouraged by that. And of course, what they've done now is they've sold the land to another developer, and this is fairly common practice. And we're now having to fight a rearguard action now that it's gone through. But I agree. I think the objection that you've read out is correct. Yeah.
Thank you. Can I have a vote on that? Thank you. So that's approved. Right. Item 13, planning appeals.
Nothing to report.
Okay. Item 14, district council decisions. They went out today, I believe.
Yeah, that's been circulated, but can I ask Councillor Haddon to report on the Horsham planning meeting yesterday that she attended?
Certainly can. So the planning application that I was speaking about was DC 240606. Lots of discussion from the councillors there. The planning officer wanted approval. The agent was representing the owners. As I say, lots of discussion, but it was a 10-3 refused. So that was the result there. And just really one other thing that that affects us in Southwater was they were looking at planning applications for Storrington, Billingshurst, Calfold, and here in Southwater. The Southwater one was the DC 192464, which was 94 dwellings west of Worthing Road by Barclays. And obviously it's come up again because of the change in water neutrality. The Storrington, Billingshurst and Calfold were passed. There was discussion over Southwater. It was noted that Southern Water had said previously that there was inadequate capacity at the moment for the sewer network, and they wanted it to be phased, the building to be phased in line with their sewage improvements. So that was made a condition and then passed.
Okay, thank you for that. Interesting to see how they work that out.
Yeah.
I think you probably find the developer's going to appeal that, but that's down to them. Okay, thank you for attending that meeting. Do appreciate it.
Thank you for putting all the stuff together, all the info together for me.
Item 15, planning compliance.
We have 3 enforcement notices currently out. EN 240327, which was the condenser unit at Budgeons, which is now closed. EN 250292 in respect of the breach of condition 29 at the co-op. That is now an application which we've previously discussed. And EN 250192, which is the retrospective application, which is now DC 251834, which Councillor Haddon has been looking into. We have also contacted the enforcement officer with regard to the sale of Christmas trees in the car park at the Hen and Chicken, particularly because there was an accident caused with people looking at the trees at that sticking point in the road. Unfortunately, due to the temporary nature of the sales, the enforcement officer will not be investigating this matter.
Okay,
And that's it.
that tells us something. I think we actually need to write to the enforcement officer and ask them to write to the Hen and Chicken and ask them not to do that in the future. Right, item 16, biodiversity report, to receive and review the report. I think you had a lot to do with this one, didn't you?
Yeah, so it's still very much work in progress, but the audit report which I've shared is an update of where I've got to so far. So we've received a biodiversity audit of all the species that have been reported in the area, and I have plotted that all onto our Pear Maps system so we can overlay it with our bigger map and see all the areas where particular species do exist. It's the reports also notifies areas of local wildlife. Unfortunately, most of these are not public, they're private owned, so we don't have control over them. One of them is Woodlands Court, which falls under the Berkeley Homes application, and they've already said that they would improve that area, but it's something that we can look at. In line with all the different open spaces that we currently manage and potentially the ones that we will take over from Horsham as well, I want to look in together with the senior operations officer as to the areas that are going to be best for us to carry out biodiversity audit reports. That will involve getting a specialist in to assess that area, do a desk survey as well, but look at ways that we can improve those areas, both by the council, but ways that we can actually create credits so that where people are developing around us, we can get them to pay to have those works carried out. My hope is for not the next meeting, but the meeting after that, is to come up with a report of the areas that I propose that we have these audits carried out. They would then be booked in for the springtime, because that's the time that all the audits happen, and then we can work out the next steps and how we take things forward after that.
Chairman, how are those audits funded? Can they be funded by SIL and 106 monies, or?
They can certainly be funded by SIL. 106 contributions would have to be
Would be
specifically allocated to
designated, yeah.
those. It's non-allocated to my knowledge, but we do have SIL contributions that need to be used. So yes, so that can be used for that. But, I mean, the thing you've got to, the biodiversity net gain credits, if we got areas of land which we can apply the credit system to, then basically one unit being 1,000 square metres or 1 hectare is valued at about £28,000 to actually buy one biodiversity credit. So if we have a reasonable area of land that we can actually bank for that purposes, which will enhance those areas as well, because what that automatically does, it makes that area incapable of residential development if you got a habitat bank on it, and that will give extra protection to open space. So it's good looking at that, and it would be good to, once we've got the pair maps overlaid, to use that for the neighbourhood plan as well. So it's got a double use to it. But it will be, at the end of the day, when people need to buy biodiversity credits, it will actually pay for itself. So if we can't use or if we haven't got any SIL money available, the thing that the officers could do would be look at how much these areas of land will enhance the amount of value to those areas of land for use in the future. So that sort of calculation is being done by lots of councils at the moment, and lots of individual farmers that are not using their land for any other purposes. So they're doing habitat banks on them, and it's increasing their land value quite considerably. And it's recommended that parishes look at the land that they've got to establish habitat banks.
And you say, as you say, that they are then protected
More
because
protection, yeah.
because they are areas of biodiversity banked, as it were. So
Well, it allows you to put trees where trees need to be, rather than leave them hanging around houses and causing subsidence. So it's certainly a positive effect for Southwold to look at, and other parishes. I know from my work with Walsham Association of Local Councils and West Sussex Association of Local Councils, that it is being looked at by lots of councils. Thank you for that. And well done with the report. Well, start the report. We've got a lot more work to do on that.
Can I just ask, sorry, just a very quick question. So Newland Wood, is that the one that's at the top of Blake's Farm Road, up by the roundabout with the...
Yes.
It is, yeah.
Yes, for sure it is.
Because I had a resident who contacted me. I think I
Yes,
copied you in
yes,
on it,
yeah.
didn't I? And it's now with Louisa.
Yeah, so Louisa has come back to me, and we can't. That land is managed by Horsham.
Yeah.
I have contacted the resident to ask for exactly where they found that map,
Yeah.
because I can't find it. Once I have that information, I can go to
Send
planning.
that to me, which I sent to,
Oh, okay.
I sent to Louisa.
Oh,
I'm pretty
Louisa's,
sure.
she's on holiday this
I'll
week, so
forward
if
it
you
to
can
you.
forward it to
Yeah,
me,
of
then
course
I can
will.
take that
Yeah,
forward.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, unless there's any more comments, next is the date of the next meeting, which is the 7th of January 2026. And thank you very much for your time this evening.
Meeting finished at 18:53.